Now, as we all know by now, Nintendo has been around for a very long time, and their oldest franchise is easily Super Mario. It has been around for more than 35 years, and they've made like 1 billion games in that time, which are all filled to the brim with unique challenges and enemies. However, a lot of the time, we only see certain things once, and then they are gone forever. Poof! Never to be seen again. But some of those things, especially enemies, were a lot of fun and in my opinion, should even return. So let's look into my top 5 Super Mario enemies that we only saw once. Now let's dive right in. Number 5. Now for our very first enemy, we will be looking at one that is incredibly cute in my opinion, and was largely forgotten about. And personally, I'm quite surprised by this, because Nintendo could easily turn it into some amazing merchandise. I'm talking about the Squigglers, which were seen in New Super Mario Bros. Only and no other game. And they can only be found in one place, World 7A. So this one is certainly ultra rare. In this level, many can be seen crawling around the perimeter of pipes in the underground pipe maze area. Now, unlike regular Wigglers, they can be defeated, either by stomping on them or by throwing fireballs at them. Now, when it comes to their design, they look like a less developed version of a Wiggler who doesn't even have any legs, making it look like a cream-colored caterpillar. But sadly enough, they don't give any points when being jumped on. However, defeating them using a ground pound, fireballs, or blue shell will earn you points. Now, like I said, we've only seen them in this one level, in this one New Super Mario Bros. Game. And after that, we didn't see them in the main series games anymore. Personally, I'm kind of sad that this is the case. They are adorable and they could have done more with them. Just imagine a level that is based on the Maple Tree Raceway track from Mario Kart Wii, but it's a Super Mario level. Or even a whole world. Then it would be similar to the Tree Zone from Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins. And here you could encounter tons of Wigglers, other insect enemies, and Squigglers crawling out of every hole, sometimes even surprising the player. This would be so much fun! And then they would finally be used more and also in a more fitting setting. However, even though they could do more with them and even give them some new abilities to make it all more spicy, they will probably never do that, which is certainly a shame. Because gosh, they could turn this enemy into amazing merchandise. Number 4. Now, every now and then, Nintendo just comes up with enemies that are incredibly hard to deal with. They are just really strong. A classic example of such an enemy is the Hammer Bro. These can be hell to deal with, especially in the 2D games. However, there's one other type of them that we only saw in one game, and after that, we didn't see them ever again. There wasn't even an alternate version of it in some other game. Now, the enemy I'm talking about is the amazing Flying Hammer Brother, which is first encountered in Donut Plains 4 from Super Mario World. This enemy hovers around on a 2-block version of the flying platform that swings back and forth, which adds more difficulty as well. Now, these guys attack by tossing hammers from their swooping platform, and they can be defeated by various methods, most commonly hitting the platform from below. But they can also be defeated with a stomp or a fireball, though the hammers make it somewhat difficult to do so without taking damage. Now, when you do succeed in defeating one of them, the platform remains on screen and continues on its original flight path. However, if the platform's rider is somehow defeated before the platform itself begins to move, it instead stays in place. So in a way, this one is more difficult to defeat than a Hammer Bro, mostly because it throws more hammers and sits on a moving platform. And the fact that they sit on such a platform gives Nintendo even more options. But we will get to that in a second. Now, sadly enough, they were only seen once. We saw them in Super Mario World and that's it. However, they actually have a lot of potential, and that's all because of one thing, to be honest: the platforms they stand on. They can put them in certain places where a dragon coin or some other collectible is hidden close by. And in order to find this cool goodie, you first have to fight this dangerous enemy. And that's because you need to get on his platform in order to reach that collectible. Something like this would be very cool. And as far as I can remember, this wasn't a thing in Super Mario World. And even if I don't remember correctly and it was a thing in the game, Nintendo could still reuse the concept and build upon it. Just imagine how many things you could do in a scenario like this to make it even more interesting or challenging. But even though that's quite a cool idea, we will probably never ever see this in a future Super Mario game. Number 3. Personally, I'm a big fan of Super Mario Galaxy. It's an incredibly interesting game that does some amazing things. The whole space setting was truly unique back then, and the whole gravity and planet system was revolutionary for a platformer game like this. And in this game we also came across one new enemy that is similar to one we have seen before, but its tactics are completely different. Now the enemy I'm talking about is the Lil Cinder, who clearly took inspiration from the lava bubble, but they certainly aren't the same. There's even an ice counterpart called a little brrr. Now the fire version spawns from a lava pool, although sometimes they are encountered above land. They will slowly chase you as soon as you're in sight and then attempt to ram into you, inflicting damage. Now aside from this, when you touch a Lil Cinder, you catch on fire and will start running around uncontrollably while losing health. And thanks to this, you could also end up in some hole, run into another enemy, or even fall into surrounding lava, which makes them incredibly dangerous. But you can also beat them. All you must do is use a spin attack nearby or shoot a star bit to put out the flame, and then they fall on the ground. It will then attempt to escape from you by hopping away and seeking a pool of lava to regenerate its flame. And that's all because, in its cold state, they can be kicked or jumped on to destroy it, producing a coin. Now personally, I find them quite cute. And they can also be a real threat if you don't watch out, and it's all because of their fire powers. Aside from that, getting rid of them can be incredibly hard. They are quite good at avoiding you, and as soon as they jump back into lava, they will come after you again. Sometimes you even do a star spin to make them weak and then go on with your adventure, but a minute later, it's right behind you again. So while they are cute, small, and seem harmless, they are good at sneaking up on you. And while they did return in Super Mario Galaxy 2, where they have the same abilities, we didn't see them after that. However, I bet if Nintendo made them return once again, they could do some amazing things with them. They are lava bubbles that can only move around on land and are killable, but it's hard to pull off. So in a 3D game, they really shine. Sure, they aren't great for 2D titles, but in a new, more linear 3D game, they could be a good fit. So I really hope that one day, they will return to the series. Number 2. Now, throughout the years, we've also seen a lot of Super Mario games that were quite weird. Think of a title like Super Mario Sunshine. Here we get some weird water jetpack and we are stuck on an island filled with potato-headed freaks. However, there's one other game that was even weirder than all the others combined. Super Mario Bros. 2. The Mario game that's not really a Mario game. However, in this title we did see one new enemy that was pretty cool, and I would love it if it ever came back. The Phantos, which are masked enemies that are often guarding keys in caves or in jars found in the game. Now these simply remain immobile and harmless until the player takes the key they are guarding. At that point, one of them will come to life and will chase you constantly, going through other screens and rooms. And what's even crazier is that they cannot be permanently defeated. It's first of all very hard to damage them, and in no time a new one is there. The only way you can get rid of it is by dropping the key you took, and then it flies away and leaves you alone. But if you pick up the key again, it will return. The only way it will leave you alone for good is by using the key. So in a way, this whole scenario is similar to some sort of heist. You're stealing a key and the guard is trying to catch you. And personally, I like this concept a lot. It creates some tension, which is perfect for a platforming game like Super Mario. And I think they could easily bring this concept back and do something new with it again. Especially in more linear levels. They could even build one level that is just built around this heist scenario. It could even fit with the story. For example, there's a gate in the way that Bowser locked with a special magical key, and in order to continue, you need it. But I don't think they will ever do something like this. Number 1. Now for our last one, I will get to the point quick. It's Nabbit, who isn't really an enemy to be honest, but also doesn't help most of the time. Because in New Super Mario Bros. U, he actually appears throughout several levels as some sort of minigame. When you see him, you need to chase him throughout the course within 100 seconds, and you can use all kinds of items and power-ups to slow him down. Now when Nabbit is actually caught, Toad will give you a pea acorn as a reward in exchange for the bag that was stolen. And if you fail to catch him 3 times, times, he will flee and disappear. As you can see, this isn't really an enemy. However, I do like the concept behind all of this a lot. It spices up some of the levels, and I bet they could also do something like this in 3D games and other 2D games. There's enough to add to this after all, like more interesting settings, certain obstacles, better rewards, multiple roads in a level, and more. All of this could add something cool or challenging. However, we only truly saw them in one game. Personally, I'm not sure why, because as far as I know, people love Nabbit. But hey, Nintendo often makes weird choices. Now, as you can see, the enemies on this list are quite unique and could easily return someday. But as we all know, Nintendo rarely does something like that. So for now, we will just wait and pray for something. But in the meantime, you can subscribe and click the bell button so you won't miss anything, and don't forget to leave a like as well.